Metro booming, want some more, nigga. Hit that fast thing, speeding through the city. Panoramic brain in my dead digi. Motherfucker fame, all my niggas lit it. Never to the face, I don't smoke no Philly. Drippin' sauce like I'm chilly. Set that milk came to the floor when it's chilly. I got big booty bras at the telly. And end up from the store who was ready. I can't fuck with none of y'all niggas, y'all disgust me. When you with your maggot ass friends, don't discuss me. Effing with a standing clip, I hope don't try to rush me. I hear him saying such and such a nigga ain't gon' touch me. Big body bench, remember I used to be dusty. Now I want my money, all hunters in a rush, please. I was selling weed when they came out with white tee. Now I put a whole half a ticket on my white tee. Whole hood popping other niggas, they don't like me. Made her eat it up, she told her friend he gon' wipe me. All my niggas thoroughbred, on forward cross street. Free all of the bros down the road and on right street. Hit that fast thing, speeding through the city. Panoramic brain in my dead digi. Motherfucker fame, all my niggas lit it. Never to the face, I don't smoke no Philly. Drippin' sauce like I'm chilly. Set that milk came to the floor when it's chilly. I got big booty bras at the telly. And end up from the store who was ready. Put some fine bitches in my jellies. Two new glass tenants, these spaghettis. Ain't gon' bash you bitches, I ain't petty. Just know we fucking, we ain't going steady. I don't wanna sleep, I need more eddies. I ain't had no kid, but I'm a daddy. Let her shake her ass like it's magic. 20s in my pocket, look like cabbage. Carrots everywhere, I'm a rabbit. I ain't sure they low, what was that name? You was told to go, keep that cannon. I'm a fucking gold, I can't panic. Hit that fast thing, speeding through the city. Panoramic brain in my dead digi. Motherfucker fame, all my niggas lit it. Never to the face, I don't smoke no Philly. Drippin' sauce like I'm chilly. Set that milk came to the floor when it's chilly. I got big booty bras at the telly. And end up from the store who was ready. Money conversations, check my phone. Sway, how about Dolce Gabbana, Chanel or mine?
Today we're going to talk about the college football playoffs, CBB winners, and of course we got to cash a squad ride. This is Behind the Lines. Cooper Kupp might be washed. 4 targets, no catches. The guy ran a half a marathon. I've seen 20 tweets about it this morning. The guy didn't do a single thing.
Yeah, that was a frustrating bagel for a lot of fantasy owners.
Is this what we've become down in Blacksburg? Just complacent, happy to be going about our day and being a moose shit program, celebrating a kid getting 1 point against North Carolina A&T? He better fucking score a point. You're playing North Carolina A&T. He's leading college football, Jovan, in every single statistical category for a wide receiver. Every single one. And you don't give that guy the award? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. At the end of the day, you got to reward teams for winning fucking games. And if they're in a power conference, they're in a power conference. I'm tired of this big dick swinging contest between the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and ACC. At the end of the day, you got to fucking reward winning. What's going on, chat? Happy BTL Thursday, episode 614 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by our 2 hosts, Krabs and Jovan, presented by Pickett. If you're not tracking your bets on Pickett, start today. Change your life. Start holding yourself accountable. Start tracking how many units you're up and down. It does all the tracking for you over there on Pickett. Go check it out. I promise you will not be disappointed. Use promo code BTL and start tracking your bets today over there on Pickett Sports. Jovan, how we doing? Happy Thursday. It was never the Miami Hurricanes.
Never was. Never
Nope.
once was. That was bad ball. Really bad ball. So hand up.
Can we put them off to the side with the Hokies maybe as just unbettable teams who just suck? And we just leave them off.
Yeah. Hokies showed a little bit of heart last night.
They showed a little bit of heart. They scored some points. They didn't cover and they gave up a lot. But they showed some hearts. I'll give you that. I agree. They're looking better. But yeah, Miami, just, I don't know. It's crazy to see a program collapse that fast. You got a coach who's a Hall of Fame coach in the future, Larinaga, who is not a big NIL guy, I don't think, and was not really vibing with what's going on right now. It makes no sense to me because a couple of years ago, they had the richest locker room in college basketball, and then it completely fell apart. And now they still have not won a game, I don't think, since they fired their coach. Crazy. It's unbelievable.
Crazy.
Yeah, weird. We got a hype train moving and grooving already. Love to see that on a Thursday afternoon. We got Devin72 coming in. Let's smack a squad ride today. Devin, please, can we smack a squad ride today? We cannot go winless this week. Okay, let's lock in. Let's find a squad ride W. All right, we'll take our time with it today, but we got to lock in and we got to find a squad ride play that we all love that's smacking. Plain and simple. We got Gabe Rod coming in, resubbing for 22 months. Love to see that. Pax Picks coming in, resubbing. Can we please Jordan a squad ride to the moon today, gents? Pax Picks, we're going to do our best. We're going to do our best.
Do that. Do it like that one where Trent tweeted that he put his net worth on that Jordan would not go yard in his last debut of the game.
Okay.
I remember that like it was yesterday. I think it was in Texas in the Rangers Stadium.
And there it goes. Home run. Unbelievable. We got GDIYA coming in, resubbing as well for 5 months. Love to see that. We appreciate all the subbies, guys. W's. And W, Mikey, and Joshy running TMA earlier today as well. If you guys missed that, I hopped on. We talked about Notre Dame and Penn State tonight a little bit. We talked about college basketball. If you want to go back and rewatch that, it is up on the YouTube Bookit Sports. Go check it out. Drop a like. Let me know what you think about the plays we talked about. Okay? What's up, Fitzy? Good to see you in the chat, my man, W's. Jamal Murray hooked the 4-man. You're goddamn right he did. You're goddamn right he did. Unbelievable. Can we flash up the Sharp report and look at that, see how we did yesterday? Golly. Well, wait a second here. Oh, yeah, Jamal Murray was in a second lineup. Good. Because the Sharp report 4-man didn't pay either.
One.
Good.
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre. Jesus. Trent Miner.
Miner. How about that square? They won outright.
He sucked.
Crazy.
Had a weird feeling.
Crazy Blackhawks game.
Yep. Had a weird feeling about the Blackhawks. Thought they should have been plus 300, not plus 200. I guess now we know why. And Kansas coming back from the grave as well, Jovan. I had that one written off as an L. They came through in the second half. They were losing by 6, I think, at halftime, and they covered that game and won big. Villanova.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Villanova with the handout. Ball don't lie. We take those 2 missed free throws from Caravan. We go about our day. Solid day from me. Jovan, bounce back day on the way for you. You ready to attack?
I donated some. Got some better plays today, thankfully. Most of them, obviously, in the football game.
Sure. Excited to hear it. Excited to hear it. We got a hype train moving and grooving right now, chat. Love to see it. Keep those subbies flowing. Keep those chats coming. All right? Yeah, I'm with you, Aloha Bet. Javon's about to have a legacy day today. I'm with you. Kansas was sharp, yes. Ending of the Nova UConn game was wild. You're goddamn right it was, Cincy. Awesome game. Awesome game. All right. Well, yeah, no steam crabs today. It probably could have been that hook from Jamal Murray on his threes. Shout out Fat Girls for that square. Appreciate you, my man. Good call there. Going with the 3 points attempted. Unbelievable.
Well, to be fair, it was closer than the field goal attempted. So at least
I looked it up this morning. It wasn't even close. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. All right. Well, we'll bounce back today. We'll see if we can craft up a prize picks lineup that smacks. We'll surely have a squad ride that I think is going to hit tonight. And we'll go over the Sharp Report plays here in a moment. Unless you guys got anything else to go over, we can hop into those plays and talk about our favorite winners. You in?
Of course.
Let's run it, Gootsy. Let's get to the Sharp Report and talk about our favorite plays, favorite winners, and favorite prize pick squares for this afternoon and tonight. All right? What better way to start it off than taking some FGCU money line in college basketball? I was telling the boys about this before BTL chat. I think it's been a couple years since I've taken FGCU because this team has just gotten line respect for the last 10 years for no reason because they went on that one run. Dunk City Magic. You guys remember that from like 10 years ago? Crazy, where they won a game in March Madness. Well, since then, they've gotten line respect and they've stunk and they've slowly gotten worse. But I cannot ignore the line today. They are favorites against North Alabama, a team that's beaten them the last 2 times they played them, a team that's on fire right now. They won 4 of their last 5 games. They're 10-5 at this point of the season. But if you look at who they played, Jovan, strength of schedule has not been great. When they played any legitimate teams, they've struggled a little bit. FGCU, on the other hand, they're coming off a loss to Queens. Before that, they were starting to roll. They won and covered 3 games in a row, but they did just drop that game to Queens where they were laying 3 points. They lost outright. They gave up 92 points. That simply can't happen, but we give them a pass. It's our beloved Queens, right? You lose that game, you move on, you go about your day. But North Alabama, like I've said, they've beaten FGCU the last 2 times they played them. FGCU's record, not great this season, 6-9, but they're favorites at home against North Alabama, who's been playing some good ball of late. This line seems fishy to me, and I'll go ahead and lock in FGCU Dunk City on the ML here at home.
Sure. No men on that. Rare time we get to back, I don't know, name that used to be popular. Not so much anymore, but I think they're the play.
Yep. I'm with you. Rat shit, Auto Porter Hoyas. Yeah, we were talking about Auto Porter, Hoof TV on TMA earlier today. Crazy shout out. People forget the Wizards gave him a max. Unbelievable.
Yeah. One of the craziest contracts in NBA as I was growing up.
I can't believe it.
And like Timothy Mozgov getting a max. It's crazy.
That's up there. Yep. Yeah. Max is for everybody. All right. What else I got up here? Sam Houston. Oh, it feels good to talk about Sam Houston on the hardwood here. How about Sam Houston getting 3 points, Jovan, at home against big and bad Liberty, who comes in? I mean, they've been a wagon the last couple of years in college basketball. They had Darius McGee for a while. He's gone. The short little point guard who's a studs. But this Liberty team, they have not skipped a beat, Jovan. They're 13-2. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. They're a covering machine. They're 9-3 against the spread this season. And they're going on the road to Sam Houston across the country, kind of, from Virginia to Texas. And they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. They haven't covered 4 of their last 5 games. They're coming off some bad losses where they got smoked by some crummy teams like New Mexico State, UTEP, and they got crushed by Pitt and gave up 110 points in that game. I thought it was pretty weird seeing them only getting 3 points against big and bad Liberty, a team that's had some success in recent years. But the Bearcats, they've actually had some success against Liberty in recent years as well. They beat them the last time they played them by 10, outright as dogs. The last time these guys played earlier in 2024, I think Sam Houston beats them again. I think they hand them another loss. This is 2 different styles of play. You got the 3-point shooting Liberty squad against a physical, tough Sam Houston Bearcats team that I think bullies Liberty a little bit in this contest and gets them a big-time outright win. But I'll take the +3 just in case there's any fluke shit later on in this game.
Yeah, I like that a lot. You know, I love my style mismatches, especially as of late. This is definitely one. I think they're going to be physical with them, just like you said. I might tail that with you.
Bearcats, stand up. They get it done. And yes, there is a shot, Beef Stewski, that I'm going back to Sam Houston. Yep, 100%. One more play for you guys, a money line parlay. Stick with me. Let me know what you guys think of this puppy. But Ohio State's playing today. I'm sure you guys have all seen that line. They're favorites against Oregon. Surely that pays out, right? Favorites against a ranked team at home. This Ohio State team is dog shit as well. But they're getting some respect again on the lines, and I cannot resist. So I'll take them on the ML, and I'll go ahead and pair them with Santa Clara late night, who might still be without Tilly. But it was pretty weird seeing this line up to 6.5 against a really good Oregon State team, not only with their record at 12-4, but also against the spread. They've been one of the best teams in college basketball this year. They're 12-4 against the spreads, but they've only covered 1 game in their last 5, and it was their last game against San Diego where they destroyed that team. Santa Clara, on the other hand, they have not been covering much, but they've been winning. Finally, they're starting to get back on track. They've won 4 of their last 5 games, and I think even with or without Tilly, if Tilly's not playing and they're laying 6.5 against Oregon State, that's a crazy line. And if he's back and plays, he cost them that game the last time he was in there in that last loss with some terrible turnovers later on in that game against San Francisco. Pretty much cost them that game and then didn't play against San Diego. I would be, not surprised if we see Tilly out there today, but if we do, I'm sure he's got revenge on his mind trying to get his team back in the win column after costing them a win. I'll take Santa Clara not to cover that line. Fat ass spread. They probably do cover. I lean that way, but I'll take them on the ML with Ohio State. System play, fading a ranked team when they're an underdog on the road.
Yeah, you got some stones going back to Ohio State. I can respect that one.
I'm not happy about it. Okay? Not happy about it. But it has to be done.
Yeah.
Chad is not loving that play.
I can get why.
Yep.
That team is rat meat, which probably means the time that everybody wants to get off, myself included, they're going to be free tonight.
Yep. All right. What are you cooking up, Jovan, on your straight bets? You got some winners for the peeps?
Yeah, we'll probably skip talking about the Notre Dame game first out. Start on the NBA with the high court. I like this over in Suns Hawks, which the Suns have been on a moose streak of offense in their last handful of games. This game, especially being that you're without Jalen Johnson on the other side, which hurts the offense for the Hawks, of course. DeAndre Hunter is going to start in his place, and you're going to have a bunch of the guys in the back end of the rotation kind of filling in there. But defensively, I think he's a pretty solid Swiss Army knife to have. Not that DeAndre Hunter isn't, but it's going to be a much different time, but the Hawks are also really bad at catch and shoot defense. And for a Suns team that kind of needs a little bit of a jump start after the last, I don't know, week or so, they kind of took their foot on the gas or put their foot on the gas a little bit, switching up the rotation, putting Bradley Beal to the bench. I think in kind of the long stretch of things in the next couple weeks, I think the biggest beneficiary of that is going to be a lot of these shooters. It's not just going to be getting Bradley Beal in ISO situations, getting KD in ISO situations, or just like we saw last game when D-Book was cooking, same thing for him. I think a lot of the shooters are going to benefit from this. So this feels like the perfect game to do it. And I do think it's a little odd. Yes, it's a Hawks game. You're going to have a super high total, of course. There's a little tax there. But after just how bad the Suns have been on offense, you're giving them 238.5. That feels awfully telling of what we're going to get in this game. And I think the Hawks offense honestly can stick in this game too. But I like points. I think that's the route I'm going to go in this game. So give me a fun one. I feel like this is the game where the Suns finally snap out of their offensive funk at the very least. But I would not be surprised if the Hawks go band for band with them.
All right, let's hope Devin Booker's putting the ball in the fucking hoop tonight.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, if it helps for you too, because I mean, I picked out my one square for this game, but if you do go through the 3-point category, it is tough to pick a Sun because there's a lot of Suns, and again, it makes sense, but there's a lot of weird looking Sun squares up there. Pretty much the entire starting five, sans I guess KD is up there for something weird in the 3-point category, which makes sense because really bad catch and shoot defense out there in Atlanta, but this is the time. Feels like the game.
All right, let's get some points in that game tonight. High ass total. Really high total for how Phoenix has been playing. I'm in. And now you got 2 plays. You're breaking the old golden rule here. 2 plays in one game. Whoa.
Super rare. Super
Very
rare. Yeah.
You like points.
So, like points. I mean, I almost like it just as much as Notre Dame, which is why I couldn't keep it off there. But Notre Dame, we'll start there. I think everybody gets caught up in what the past game or what Notre Dame as an offense did against Georgia, but people don't really seem to comprehend that whether it's that game against Georgia or you can go back to, I don't know, one of the games at the beginning of the season where they actually played a good defense in Texas A&M. It's all about what Notre Dame has to do. That's how the offense is formulated. Riley Leonard's not going out and throwing for 90 yards on however many attempts because he's incapable of throwing the ball. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Drew Aller. It's going to throw it down the field, but he does what the offense requires him to do. When you're facing a freshman quarterback in his first overall start in the playoff, and you have a lead because your special teams gave you a touchdown, your defense gave you a turnover where you got placed on Georgia's 10 or wherever they were, pretty close in the red zone. What do you need to do? Yeah, you're running the ball effectively. Riley Leonard's using his legs. That's been the way to attack Georgia's defense all season. So he followed the game plan. That's why the passing game wasn't really needed. And in this game, you need the pass game, which I think kind of works for them because A, nobody's really expecting it. B, Penn State, as good as people talk about the defense and how good as it is, the run game defense is very, very strong. And you have a banged up Jeremiah Love. That kind of hurts that. Jadarian Price is fantastic, but they've been good against the run. They're going to be good against the run. You're going to have to throw. You don't want to get into second and long. You don't want to get into third and long. So this pass game that everybody seems to think is so non-existent, I think is going to be very, very existent today. And Riley Leonard's going to have a really good day with his arm. So on that side of the ball, I feel confident in what Riley Leonard can do against that Penn State defense and that Penn State secondary, which I also think is very overrated. So that's the angle for Notre Dame points. And I think they do this a lot more than Penn State on the other side. But I'll conjoin this in the over talk. Al Golden, who, funny enough, went to Penn State. It's his little revenge game, DC from Notre Dame. He is like the Todd Bowles, play calling wise, of college football defensive coordinators. All he does is blitz. If you watched any of Penn State, both in the SMU game and the Boise State game, again, people get so caught up in how lopsided those games were at times, more so the SMU one than the Boise State one. When those two teams, especially Boise State, brought the blitz and did any kind of stunts, any kind of whatever, Drew Aller got pressured in the pocket. The offensive line did not look good against the blitz. He didn't look good in the pocket against the blitz. That's when they started bringing it, I think, in the second quarter and into the start of the third quarter in the Boise State game. That's when the game started to get really close, and you're like, oh, maybe Boise State can hang in this. When you bring the blitz against that O-line and Drew Aller, he has not looked good. At the beginning of the season, he was one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. In the last 5 weeks, he's one of the worst, and that includes like the tail end of the regular season. So when that happens and Al Golden brings the blitz, one of two things are going to happen. There's going to be a deep shot open or two, of course, whether it's Amari Evans, Harrison Wallace, or really whoever Christian Gray is guarding, because that guy gives up chunk plays like it's anybody's business. There's going to be some of those. But what also is going to happen, you're going to have turnovers. The big vaunted part of what everybody can't figure out about Notre Dame and why they always discount them. There's a reason why they are at the top of the turnover margin in terms of playoff teams by a wide margin. They were at the start of the playoffs. They maintained their spot there. And the only team, I think, funny enough, above them the entire regular season was JMU, which is hilarious and crazy. But they force turnovers like no other. When you're bringing a blitz, bringing pressure against a quarterback who loves to throw downfield, you're going to get a Drew Aller pick. You're going to get a Drew Aller strip sack. You're going to get that. It's what they've done all year. So when both of these teams are forced into heavy passing scripts, which is for a couple different reasons, you don't want to get into second and long. You don't want to get into third and long. But you also have two really good rushing defenses that kind of force you into that. There's going to be a passing script, I think, on both sides, which stops the clock, leads you to points. And then Drew Aller versus the Notre Dame defense's cake, I think, forces them into mistakes, which is going to lead people to the same thing that happened in the Georgia game, turnovers that put the Notre Dame offense into favorable field position, which is why I ultimately think there will be points and they will be the ones benefiting from it to win the game.
I love this over. And correct me if I'm wrong, but should it concern Notre Dame bettors that you've been talking about Notre Dame all week? And now we've got two plays up there. And I even heard a quote from you. You said, I might even like this over better than Notre Dame at this point. Should that concern Irish bettors, Irish fans, aka Goots?
No, because the reason I like the over is because of especially what I think Notre Dame's defense is going to do to Penn State. It's like I'm trying to think of what I've used like the same comp. Sometimes I do it with Anthony Richardson. I'm like I bet Colts overs or I bet his squares or props or anything there. Like it's going to be big play or incomplete pass / turnover. So like I think there's people seem to think, because this is such a rock fight on paper, that these two teams on 1st and 10 every time are just going to line up and run into the defensive line for losses and 1-yard gains. When in reality, I think both coaches are smarter than that, and they're going to throw more on early downs because what's going to happen if you get stuck in 2nd and long, 3rd and long consistently against both these defenses? You're going to lose. And it especially helps that I think if you're Notre Dame, that people have been talking about how they can't play from behind because that's not really how their offense is built. Yeah, you want to get out to an early lead. Same goes for Penn State. So then that opens up the run game a little more when you need to utilize it. So I don't think it's really of much concern because I like them for both the same reasons.
I'm a little bit concerned about all the Notre Dame love on the feed today. Although when you check the splits, you see Penn State's the public team. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So my brain's in a blender with the sides here. And I also just watched an interview yesterday of, maybe the biggest dickhead of all time, sitting down next to Marcus Freeman, just roasting him in the program for not being in a conference. So that either tells me two things. Number one, James Franklin is feeling extremely confident about where his team's at right now, and he thinks he's going to beat the brakes off of Notre Dame. Or, like Goots brought up to me, maybe he's a little scared. Maybe he's a little nervous, and that's how he's kind of coping. He is being a dickhead in the media. And maybe that's, his way of just trying to, big dick Coach Freeman. How do you feel after watching that media presser yesterday? Does it change anything for you? Do you think maybe James Franklin is speaking out of his ass? Do you think he's pretty confident right now? And do you like how Marcus Freeman reacted to the whole bit, just sitting there and pretty much laughing it off?
Yeah. Marcus Freeman's about business.
Marcus wants
what I took off from that.
On the football field, Krabs, not in front of the mic, on the football field. He's a better coach. He's a better person. He's a better motivator. James Franklin can't win a big game. He's got a P for brain. He can't figure it out.
Marcus Freeman reminds me of like a less odd Joe Mazzulla, just like all of his mannerisms. It's very, very, very similar. Just all down to business.
I guess I never thought about that.
Yeah, maybe like a Eric Spoelstra too, because I guess he's the more normal version of a Joe Mazzulla. But yeah, he's just all down to business. James Franklin, it's the first time he's in like an actual big game because they're a dog now you can talk about. So the narrative's out there, and he's laughing, joking about Notre Dame not being at a conference. Surely that doesn't come back to bite him today.
Surely.
Yeah. And then you got to look at what do you got, Gootsy?
I think you're reading the line on Twitter too much. It just comes down to coaching. Comes down to who's ready. It's a playoff.
I love betting on some coaches. That's for sure. Are we worried about the flu narrative? Somebody brought it up in chat. I looked into it earlier this morning. Apparently, it's mainly just the special teams and the backups.
Well, there's the same rumors going around about poisons or Penn State getting like food poisoning. I saw that yesterday. So I don't really want to take that too into stock one way or the other. As long as Riley Leonard, Xavier Watts are good, we are good. And Jaden Greathouse, of course. Need him up and moving.
I think we're going to see points in this game. I wouldn't be shocked if the Irish win. I think if I had a gun to my head, I probably would still take Notre Dame as a favorite. Some of the things scaring me. They've won a bazillion games in a row since that NIU loss. They've covered a bazillion games in a row since that loss. But how can you fault them for taking care of business and doing jobs? And the Notre Dame Irish, it's pretty much like the Yankees of college football. They always get more line respect than they should, and they're still coming through and covering and beating the books. So Gargantuan Red coming in with a resub for 15 months. W's there. I do think, both sides have a key injury on defense as well, which could lead to some points. You got Notre Dame's defensive tackle out for this game. You've got a banged up, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, but the best D lineman for Penn State, that's literally Micah Parsons 2.0. And I'm sure you guys can help me out here. He's banged up. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, but yes, Abdul Carter, who's going to be probably a top 10 pick in the NFL coming up. He's banged up. I don't even know if he's going to play. If he does, who knows how good he's going to be. You think he'll play? It's just a matter of how much that shoulder holds up. Okay.
Yeah.
Couple other things as well. Notre Dame's defense is great. Penn State's defense is solids. I wouldn't call them great, but they're solids. I could definitely see Penn State airing it out and sticking with the pass game here, which they've done at times, and maybe trying to get to some of the backup corners in Notre Dame. Maybe it's not I don't know why I'm blanking on his name as well, but maybe it's not Christian Gray who gets exposed, but some of these other cornerbacks on the Irish are not elite. And maybe Penn State through the air, if they stay stubborn and stick with that air raid offense and they don't hand the ball off to, Sonic and Knuckles, they're two stud running backs that they've got going in this game. I think if Notre Dame's smart, they're going to stack the box. They're going to make Drew Aller beat him through the air. And I do think at times that will work. At times that'll result in punts and shitty drives. But I do think Penn State will break a couple through the air, I guess is my point, and have a couple big plays in this game. And I would not be shocked if it was maybe the studs, Harrison Wallace, who's getting bumped up as well today, making a big play or two for Penn State, keeping him in this game. And everybody thinks it's going to be the stud Tyler Warren. And I don't blame him. This kid's the next big thing in the NFL. He's going to be the next stud tight end for fantasy draft in a dynasty. But if I was a betting man, I'd say Notre Dame is probably going to sell out against the run, slow down Penn State's dual-wielded rushing attack, and try to take Warren out of this game and make the receivers beat him, considering it's pretty much only Harrison Wallace. And I don't know if that's going to work out great for Notre Dame for the entirety of this game. I could see Penn State putting up some points through the air with some deep shots. And then Notre Dame, I'm worried about as well with Jeremiah Love. How effective is he going to be today? Is he even going to play? I'm looking at the PrizePicks squares up here, Jovan, and I'm seeing the backup running back who, did plenty last week, in my opinion. But I'm seeing his rushing yard square is higher than Jeremiah Love significantly. Jadarian Price.
Yeah, so they pretty much at this point flipped. So like Jeremiah Love was like low 50s, and now he's down to right where Jadarian Price opened at high 30s.
That concerns me.
I would assume that means Jeremiah Love is not exactly healthy. Not that we didn't know that coming into this game, but Jadarian Price I think is nearly just as good. I don't think there's a drop off there, but yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a concern. And you know what that means too? Heavy passing script, not just because Jeremiah Love is not as healthy, but the third down, or I guess Jadarian Price is technically a third down back, but the third running back, Anais Williams, is a great pass blocker, and they like to use him in a lot of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a comp. He kind of Austin Eckler's them at times, kind of a loose comp, but like he's a great pass catching, pass blocking type back. So I think that only helps Riley Leonard if they have to use him there. It definitely helps the passing script. And I guess while we're talking about passing script squares, it's been getting bumped up pretty fat.
Who?
Riley Leonard's passing yards.
Real?
All this talk we've been hearing about all week about how he can't throw, about how he had only 90 yards against Georgia. Go back to like his game against A&M, he only threw for 158. The line today is higher than both of those by a decent bit, and it didn't start that way because He opened at like high 140s. Now he's up to 163.5 last I saw, which I think is interesting. Obviously, you can spin that a couple different ways, whether you think it's him playing from behind or just airing it out in general. I obviously think it's the latter, but pretty interesting.
We'll talk more about Riley Leonard here in a minute. I'm not done with him yet. I do think he has a pretty good day, and I like seeing that passing yards, although it's, it opened up pretty low with what he's been doing in the air of late. It's getting bumped up as well, so it's moving in the right direction. Love to see it. And that goes accordingly with your script there. Maybe he's a little bit more effective through the air. Or like Matty Bob saying in chat, maybe it's because they're losing in this game. And maybe Riley Leonard's, crafting up a comeback at times. It wouldn't be the craziest thing to think that maybe Notre Dame's losing at some point in this game. It's been a while since they have. They've been a fucking wagon since that NIU loss. Have they really even faced any adversity since that game? Not much. So wouldn't be shocked if Penn State strikes
USC
first.
Game only time.
Sure, you got USC giving it their all at the end of the season. You're right. But I wouldn't be shocked if Penn State strikes first in this one. And maybe they get up and then we see Riley Leonard and co. not crawling back into it, still hanging around. I don't think there's going to be a blowout in this game. And looking at this total, and by the way, if I've not made this perfectly clear, definitely like the over in this game better than a sides. If we're getting the over, we can't have a blowout because we probably need both teams to at least put up, 25-ish points. A blowout would make it tough, in my opinion. I don't see a 50-0 type game in this contest. I think both teams are scoring and doing jobs. I don't think it's going to be Penn State getting out to a 17-0 leads, but I wouldn't hate a little Penn State to score first angle, and maybe that's why Riley Leonard's passing yards is getting bumped up as well in a losing game script at times. Maybe he's creeping back into this game.
Yeah, and I'll lead you right into your square because as much as I like his passing yards, once we get down to the red zone, you know what? Because I guess this was kind of flipped last week because, granted, they didn't get into the red zone a million times, but it was Riley Leonard down the field, and then he didn't really get a chance to punch it in. His touchdown was a demon last week. It's a normal square this week. And the majority of the week, I guess there's like a minimal difference now, but the majority of the week, he was the juiciest player scoring the game. And a lot of that, I guess, had to do with Jeremiah Love not being necessarily healthy, and I think that helps in the red zone. But that feels like one of the more telling things touchdown-wise I've seen all playoffs so far. So I like your square right here because that could certainly play a part.
Literally music to my ears, Jovan. That's the main reason why I went with the fantasy score, was because that rushing and receiving touchdown square that's up, I do think turns green. But I wanted to be a little more open about how I think Riley Leonard finds success in this game. Obviously, I made this very clear. I like the over in this game the most if I had to play something, and I'm going to be pushing for that hard towards squad ride time. But Riley Leonard, I think he gets that rushing touchdown. I think with Jeremiah Love banged up, looking at his rushing yards getting bumped down 20 yards, I'm not saying Riley Leonard's not going to be more effective in the air, and seeing his passing yards getting bumped up proves that he will be, but I also think he'll be effective on the ground as well once again at times. He's going to need to be, and he probably will still get 10-ish carries in this game. That helps his fantasy score as well. That's why I'm taking his more than 18 fantasy score. I'm seeing a rushing touchdown. I'm seeing a passing touchdown, maybe 2, in a game that I'm seeing plenty of points in. I'm seeing some passing yards. I like his passing yards more than, and like you're saying, Jovan, it's getting bumped up. Great. Music to my ears. Keep getting bumped up. Fuck CLV. It's got to be Riley Leonard day. And nobody thinks he's even got arms connected to his body at this point. Watching him play the last 2 weeks, just running the ball, turning into Lamar Jackson at times, being only a runner. But this guy's a stud, and he's going to show up against his Penn State defense that is beatable through the air. They're beatable. I think Riley Leonard carries in this game, not only on the ground, but through the air.
I'm in. I love seeing Adama Ball up there because I think we've hit one or two since then, but the one, I don't know, one of our best, I think, squad report formats this year, I think had him in it to close, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, maybe we get that same occurrence again today. I would love to see that. Last time we took him, he did not come through, and that's why I have some PTSD back in my guy Alpha Ball here, but I cannot ignore the square. I cannot ignore Santa Clara today. I talked about that already. Pairing them in that money line parlay 2-piece with Ohio State, and with a banged up Tilly, whether he plays or not, it's got to be Alpha Ball carrying the offense, carrying the weight in this contest. And if you look at who they're playing Oregon State. Oregon State, they have a highly rated defense. So far at this point, they have a top 50 defense statistically, but they might as well be playing against you and me and Goots. Literally 3v3. Looking at their strength of schedule, it's an absolute fucking joke so far this year. Oregon State hasn't played anybody as athletic or physical as Alpha Ball at the guard or forward position. I still consider him a guard. He's going to dominate in this game. And I don't even hate his PRA the more I look at it, looking at that rebound square too. But Alpha Ball is getting 13 points. For the love of God, we're not asking for much. And coming off a couple bad games, Jovan, now is the time to take him. He carries them to a big-time win with banged-up Tilly in the paint.
Yeah, I'm always down to take Automobile Ball. He's good.
Gutsy, we got Zay Flowers out for the wild cards. That's okay, though. Save him for when you need him. Save him for when you need him.
If anyone sees a Tylen Wallace square pop up for a touchdown or take on the books, lock that in.
That's probably Ma, dude.
Yeah.
Plus $1 million?
Ma. Nah, that's probably you're gonna get some. You're gonna have to pay a little penny for that.
Yeah. All right. I still like the Ravens' chances to get the win. I don't know about covering, but they're winning that game. Team of Destiny in the AFC. Them and the Bills. All right. Jovan, let's go to your PrizePicks squares. Enough talking about Riley Leonard's and Alpha Ball. Let's talk about Ryan Dunn. UVA kid. And Vasilevsky, who I don't even think is up on the board anymore, which sucks.
No way he's off the board.
I'm only seeing Mackenzie Blackwood up for a goals allowed square, which if you look at that square, you might want to just pivot to that more than, to be honest with you.
They had like 5 squares up there for goalies. It wasn't just Vasi.
Damn, that sucks.
They
only have one now. It's just Mackenzie Blackwood.
It's kind of odd.
Well, talk about Ryan Dunn. What do you like about him?
Yeah. So, I mean, this just kind of goes with what I thought was going to happen in the game and what I think is going to happen in the game because I like the over. A lot of the reason why I think the Suns snap out of their funk in this game offensively is because you're playing the Hawks, who are catch and shoot heaven. So, a lot of the reason I think they get caught in like iso ball a lot, and that's what's you kind of get when you have Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. But now feels like the perfect time where all the catch and shoot guys and the PrizePicks board would tell you this: Ryan Dunn's not the only weird square that's on the board. They have Ryan Dunn up there. I mean, they have Devin Booker right up there again. Didn't have the heart to go back to it, but it's probably green. They have Tyus Jones up there, same thing. Ryan Dunn is the guy I wanted to go to off of Bagel over 4, especially now being that as for the last couple games when they switched the lineup, he's in the starting lineup and Bradley Beal's been moved to the bench. So I feel like he's the guy in this matchup specifically. He's going to get an undersized guy probably at the 2 guarding him, while DeAndre Hunter, one of the best defenders, probably the best defender on the Hawks, is going to have a much tougher assignment face guarding, I would assume, KD for a majority of the game, especially with, Jalen Johnson being out in this game. And in the paint, you got Clint, of course. Whatever you're going to do with the big and Nurkic, we'll find out. But any of these guys, I think, are really good looks today. I just centered on Ryan Dunn because he's a role player, technically still, coming off of a bagel with very kind of low volume. Just reminds me a lot of the college squares we take. And so, in the matchup.
Time to give some respect to Smokey in chat. God damn it. I knew this was going to happen. Yes, from yesterday, you're right. Ace Baldwin was a terrible square. He played so bad that he either got benched or was hurt or something.
Yeah, he got hurt in the first half and never came back. Can't give him too much credit.
0 for 6. Not a great day for Ace Baldwin. Whether it was injury related or not, Smokey was right. Got to give the kid credit. And the square that he told us to take, I don't know why I'm blanking on that name, it cashed. So I'll go and give you credit there. Jeesh. Ace Baldwin actually had 0 points in that game. I checked that this morning. I had to check another source to make sure that was correct when I looked in the PrizePicks app. Yep, he had a goose egg. Oh, brutal. All right. You want to still give that Vasi pitch real quick, though, Jovan? Because people in chat still want it. They're saying they can still bet it straight.
Yeah, because I'm also going to take the over in this game, I think. I've had a weird feeling about this game for a little bit. And the square being up in the first place, whether it's up or down now, it's not really that much of a difference to me. I'll tell you what the chart would have looked like because it would have been all red because I think the last 4 games, Vasi's given up 2 exactly. And frankly, the Lightning, they went on this West Coast road trip where their offense was terrible. So like Vasi being good in net really didn't solve anything. He wasn't getting ripped on very much, but that's kind of beside the point. They came home their last game against the Canes, low scoring win, gritted it out. So like now they have to play another gritty game because the games against the Bruins, whether they're good or whether they're a little more, I don't know, offensively challenged like they are this year, they're always gritty. But this game just feels different to me because not only was this square up after Vasi's been, frankly, really good over the past couple weeks and the Bolts offense really hasn't helped him out, but the Bruins are also coming off of a shutout against the Oilers where They really didn't pepper all that too much until the very, very end on Stuart Skinner. And seeing that square up was a shock to me, and it kind of lined up with what I thought was going to happen in this game. You get like a 5.5 total. I feel like this game is going to be the one where the Bruins come out early and make the Bolts chase the game. And when the Bolts have to chase the game against a very physical team, that's when they open up and they play really, really fast. So I have a bad feeling that this game is going to come with goals and potentially a Bruins win. I would not be shocked, but if the Bolts do win, I think they're going to have to score to do it. So I like the over in this game. It's at 5.5 again, and I don't think Vasi's going to have the easiest time in net either.
Okay, over. You're going to bet that straight on the books?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got 5 subbies coming in from Colt Stick in the chat. Love to see that. Colt Stick, you're a beast. 5U Subwell coming in hot. Love to see that. W's. Appreciate you, Colt Stick. All right. Well, let's hope that maybe we get Vasilevsky goals allowed square popping back up on the boards. I will keep my eyes on it. Do you like that Mackenzie Blackwood more than 2.5 goals allowed? Colorado goalie against Minnesota. Side note. Do you like that square?
I don't hate it. It's just, I don't know. I have a tough time fading the Avs or anything Avs after yesterday.
Right. We already got our lick yesterday with that square too.
Yeah, not even that square. It's just like just the whole situation of the game. I mean, they lost a game that they had no business losing to, even with a guy making his NHL debut against the Blackhawks of all teams, and now they're on a back-to-back, which you don't really see. I know the Wild are dealing with a ton of injuries, so like, it's justified, but 40 cents of movement when you're on the road, or 40 cents of steam on the road when you're on a back-to-back, and the other team, I also believe, does not happen very often, no matter the situation.
And Minnesota's won 4 games in a row, Jovan.
Yeah, and again, like they're a little banged up coming into this game, so I assume a little bit of the movement is because you're getting finalized news on who's going to be playing for Minnesota. But 40 cents of steam when you're off a loss to the Blackhawks and you're on the road back to back. The Wild are rested; they haven't played since Tuesday, I'm pretty sure. That's odd.
Yeah, maybe it's a trap. I'm good not taking that square.
The Wild, also great point by Hoffy. I mean, they've scored 4 more goals the last 4 games. The Wild have.
Yeah, I'm out. That could be a trap. Lancer, what's up, Beast? Good to see you in chat. OG Sauer coming in. Who the fuck is Ryan Dunn? I'm not hip. He is a UVA graduate, unfortunately. And now he's a pretty solid NBA player. Plays really good defense and shoots threes. That's about it. That's about all he does. And I actually like the way Ryan Dunn plays. He's a blue. He should have been a Hokie, to be honest with you, the way he plays. Hardworking kid. Had to sneak that one in there. All right. W Sharp reports. Jovan, I know that Vasilevsky square is gone. We will find a replacement or just wait for now and see if that ends up popping back up. But I'm sure you'll get back in the lab and find some more squares. If we need a replacement for now, maybe we look at some of the book plays. Maybe we look at college basketball and go through that slate. Here's what I want to do today. I want to go over the college basketball slate because it's pretty good, especially with the mid-majors, a lot of close spreads as well. And I want to spend a little bit more time on the Notre Dame and Penn State game tonight, maybe crafting up a PrizePicks lineup for that game too. Those are 2 things top of mind, Jovan, that I want to do. I don't know if there's anything else that you're trying to get done today as well, but please let me know if you want to go to the NBA or NHL boards. But maybe we start out with some CBB talk.
Yeah.
Okay. This slate today. We got a 2 p.m. game, Morehead State and Little Rock. That spread's gotten cut in half. I'm not really in the moods to bet this 2 p.m. game. I don't want to force anything, I guess is my point here. I don't really have a play. But if I had to take something, it probably would be Little Rock on the spreads, even with that reverse line movement. Then opening up -6.5 in this game against big and bad Morehead State, who's gone to the tournament in recent years, I thought was pretty fucking weird and a big spread for this conference. I probably would lean Little Rock, even with the line move. Yeah.
It does feel like usually it's just kind of earlier in the night, not an afternoon standalone game like this one is, but whatever sharp and gets the most movement is cake. So just looking at it outside of the vacuum a little bit, I would not be shocked if the visibly sharp play in this one does not hit.
Yep. Splits on Little Rock look good as well. Chat saying WPAX picks, taking the spreads. Yeah, I won't tell you differently. Could be a good money line parlay piece as well. What about Purdue and Rutgers? Any thoughts on Purdue versus Rutgers? Faded Purdue in their last game, Jovan. That was stupid. Or sorry, 2 games ago against Minnesota in that sharp spot. That did not work. And then they went on to absolutely destroy Northwestern in their next game as well. Rutgers is coming off of back-to-back losses. I feel like it has to be a Rutgers bet here. This line is absolutely ridiculous. It's absurd. It's absurd. And I'll take the bait once again. I'll fade Purdue on the road.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to get there, but a lot of that's just, I don't know, more being scared that Dylan Harper is still not 100%, which, I don't know. That's a big question. We'll find it out in the next couple of hours, whether he's full go, I assume. But after last game, he comes out there, he's a skeleton of himself. Doesn't even look like he's moving out there. And that really hurt the team. I would assume if he's not 100% full go after that debacle last game, he's probably not going to play at all. But if he does play, I could be a little more interested, because Purdue, if you just run pick and roll on them as of late, you are getting to the rim whenever you want and getting the free throw line whenever you want. So that's still in Harper heaven if he's able to go 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I like Dylan Harper's threes. We took that on TMA earlier today, coming off an atrocious game.
I saw that.
He makes his return, right? That 1.5 3-point square. And for what I'm seeing on the feeds, I do think he's going to play, but we'll see.
I think so too. I just never wanted to rule it. Never wanted to fully confidently say anything with CBB and ghost sicknesses or injuries.
Yep. That's facts. Chad, I'll be on Rutgers today. It has to be done. I'll fade Purdue and I'll fade Lawyer until I have no more coins. Has to be done. Like, who the hell is going to cover those 2 studs in that backcourt for Purdue? Come on.
I don't know.
Who's covering them? Who's covering Ace Bailey? Who's covering Dylan Harper? They got nobody that can cover those 2 gents. Nobody. Maybe it's just the over with that crazy total opening up at 150. I know it's down now, but maybe it's just the over. But I'll be on Rutgers in that game. I cannot ignore it.
That's not crazy high for a Rutgers game, though. I expected, honestly, a little more, to be honest with you.
You're telling me Braden Smith is guarding Dylan Harper? How?
Yeah, that should be barbecue chicken.
How does he do it? He's half his size. I don't know. I think it's Rutgers. And I think at one of these points, Purdue's got to fall. I got to fall. And I'll take my chances fading them. Okay. What else do we have in CBB? Really good game, Vermont, UMass Lowell. I know unless you're a huge CBB head, you cannot give 2 shits about this game, but Vermont, an absolute wagon for the last decade or so in college basketball. They've shown that they're human this season. They've had some losses this year, Jovan. They're only 8-8. You don't see that very often from Vermont at this point. And then UMass Lowell, who's just been an absolute wagon for the last 2 seasons in college basketball. They're doing it again, Jovan. They're on a crazy win streak. They're 12-4. They've covered, at least recently, in their last 2 games, they've covered those, and they've been on a crazy win streak as well, but they have not beaten Vermont yet. Vermont owns them. I cannot tell you the last time UMass Lowell's beaten them. It's been at least 5 games. It's been years. Could we see Vermont maybe get the better of them once again here in the sharp spot at 5.5, having a shaky season? Or do we just think they're bad this season and maybe UMass Lowell is the truth and we don't want to fade them?
Yeah, I mean, it's couldn't get any easier of a stay away spot for me, because what have I learned through a lot of this mid-major betting the last couple of years? I guess really this last year and a half, you don't fade UMass Lowell because they're the greatest team of all time, especially when they're in all likelihood facing a Vermont team that's pretty overrated, because we see them in the tournament every year. We see them be dominant in that conference every single season. This doesn't seem like one of those same teams. So maybe they're getting a little more respect than they deserve on a lot of these lines.
Dead Larry Bird, I definitely really like FGCU, and I really like Montana State. And I'm sure we'll look at all those other games as well. We'll definitely take a peep at that Grand Canyon game. I don't know if I agree with you on that Grand Canyon game, but I definitely like FGCU and Montana State today. Okay. Give me Ohio State on the ML. Pray for me. Jesus Christ. Against Oregon. That should go well.
Prayers. Thoughts and prayers, Krabs.
Straight up, dude. FGCU, I'm on. Give me the ML against North Alabama. That was on the Sharp Reports. Mikey talked about William and Mary, and I think that's actually a pretty good look today. as favorites against Elon, who's 11-4, but they played against DoorDash drivers every game. I think William and Mary might beat them there at home. That's actually a pretty sharp spot there from Mike. I like that play a lot. The Tribe. The Tribe is actually solid this year, but the record doesn't show so. Looking against Elon, who's 11-4, and they're -2.5. I'll take William and Mary there in that spot.
Sure.
We also talked about JMU and Marshall. And although I'd love to bet Marshall in this game, just like you talked about, Jovan, you don't fade UMass Lowell. Well, you also don't fade JMU. And that goes for college basketball. That goes for college football. That goes for any fucking sport they play. They don't lose. They win. They cover. They're magicians down there in Harrisonburg. It makes no sense. But with that being said, I still strongly lean Marshall, especially with that line flip. Coming off of 3 losses in their last 4 games. JMU, they've won their last 2 games. And you're telling me Marshall opened up, +1 in this game, and now they're -1.5? I think it's the hurt. But I'm not betting.
Yeah, definitely really odd. Definitely really odd.
Can't do it. Do we like Hofstra against College of Charleston, who's low-key been a wagon since Coach left this season, but they haven't played anybody either. They've won 4 games in a row. I don't love this Hofstra roster, but I like their coach, and I like that they're coming off a win after 3 straight losses before that. I kind of think it's Hofstra at home, and they have not beaten College of Charleston since 2023. So is it maybe the Pride today against the Cougars?
Yeah, I kind of think so. There's one like sneakily somewhat weird line, I guess you could say. They're at home, so it's not that weird, especially being in this Hofstra, but it's definitely a little odd at first glance. There's one of those sneaky weird lines I think I want to get involved in. It's probably this one because the offense for Hofstra is pretty different because they got raided by the portal. All their guys are every which way now, but defensively, they're still a pretty strong team, especially 3-point wise, which Charleston's going to shoot a ton of them. So could be a good matchup there, and the reason why the line's weird. So I do want to get involved.
Want to shout out Lancer for resubbing as well. I missed that one. Slipped through the cracks. Lancer coming in hot, resubbing with Prime. Goated stream and goated community. Lancer, you're goated. We appreciate you, my man. W's. Calling on Book of Chew. Attention, what is the redemption play from Adult? Yeah, Chew, you got a redemption play in chat? Let me know. We got Callie Kyle in chat saying, I got a free lineup from PrizePicks. Need a locked 4-man. What's the move? Happy to look at PrizePicks here in a moment. So once we get through the college basketball boards, would love to craft up a lineup for this college football game tonight. Would love to craft one up. Okay. Money Habits likes Hofstra. Let's go. W's. Let's see if there's any other ball sack states today worth our time. Scrolling through this boards. Grand Canyon and Utah Valley. Grand Canyon laying 3.5 here. Maybe they're getting their swagger back. They're on fire right now. They're on a win streak again. But Utah Valley is playing good ball as well right now. They've won 4 of their last 5, and they've actually been covering. They've covered 4 of their last 5. Grand Canyon's only covered 1 game in their last 5. Seems like the books are kind of hip to this Grand Canyon team. And after getting crushed by the public last year and Grand Canyon covering like no other, cashing for the public, I think the odds makers made it a point to make sure they're not losing coins on Grand Canyon this year. And I wouldn't be shocked if Utah Valley pulls off the upset in the spots. I like the +3.5.
Yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth.
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, that's a great strategy for the entirety of the year. And I think you picked this out when we were on the CBB pod. You're going to see fat lines for them all year, and they're not going to be coming through. And that's exactly what's happened so far. So I don't want to get caught doing it, especially here. But I don't want to bet against them either. I'll tell you what, though, and I don't know how many bets are actually on that under because there's only 300 in the game, but that total is low for Grand Canyon and big time Utah Valley tax, especially at home because they're the more defensive squad. But I can't remember the last time we've seen a total moving down when it's this low with Grand Canyon involved. It's been a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if that plays into their hands.
It doesn't.
Yeah. I want to fade him tonight, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. TBD on that one. Somebody in chat brought up Oakland and Wright States. I like Oakland on the road getting 3.5. I like their coach, Greg Gumbel. And I like that they've beaten Wright State 4 of the last 5 times they played them. They've dominated them. They're not playing well right now. They've lost 4 of their last 5. But Wright State's coming off a win against Green Bay. Anybody could beat Green Bay. That win doesn't even count. And only seeing Oakland getting a handful of points on the road here, sitting at 5-11 against 8-8 Wright State makes me think it's probably Oakland. I'd lay them, or I'd take the points on the road, on the spread.
Yeah.
+3.5.
I get down with that. I'm interested to
else
hear
in
your
CBB?
thoughts on this one game because I think this game is sneakily one of the better games of the day and involves one of your darling teams.
You
You got the South Alabama Arkansas State. Great game.
Yeah, it's a great game. I thought about turning my basketball brain on and maybe playing Arkansas State on the road as dogs, but I think I'll probably stay off. I do think they win that game. And they're coming off a loss in their last game as well, Jovan. They finally lost a game to JMU where they were favorites. Before that, they were on Fuego. And they're playing a South Alabama team that you could say the same thing about them. They are on Fuego. They've covered 5 games in a row. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. Both these teams have been wagging so far this season. I think it's Arkansas State on the road, but I'm probably not going to bet it, and I don't like fading South Alabama at home.
I think I'm going to bet them.
Okay.
Arkansas State.
Okay.
I don't know. For the same reason I thought South Alabama was a really good matchup against TCU is the same reason why I think it's a disaster for them against Arkansas State. Obviously, like different levels of competition, I guess you could say. But frankly, if Arkansas State played TCU right now, they'd probably beat them. But South Alabama, they're a smaller team that likes to play slow and physical, but like they don't do it in a way that I think works because A, Arkansas State's a lot bigger than them, but B, all they do is chuck threes. They also like want to press you and force turnovers and play like a very havoc style of defense where they'll pick you up full 90 sometimes. They'll pick you up in like a half court trap. So like for South Alabama, even though they're at home, they want to play slow. They don't want to shoot a bunch of threes. They don't want to get into a shootout. I feel like Arkansas State makes them really uncomfortable in this game, which is why, I mean, it's a relatively even game, and I still think South Alabama maybe should be getting another point or so, given the home court. But
yeah,
I would not be surprised. Marquee win for Arkansas State could be here on the road.
I like them. I could be convinced to bet them. I think you're right. They should be getting 3.5, 4.5 points, not 1.5 on the road to South Alabama, who's been on fire. I like that.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I know JMU is kind of a tough team to value, but they were bigger favorites against JMU at home, which is saying something. And they blew them out in that game for what it's worth. But
interesting.
A little shorter against Ark State. Maybe the books know. Ark State's actually a solid team. We're probably going to see in March.
I hope so. I really hope so. We got Nerfy Chad in the chat talking about the Jacksonville and Bellarmine game. He said, I need a vintage crab sell job on Bellarmine. You won't get one today. Bellarmine is one of those teams you just don't bet. They never respect coins. They have not for years. You don't bet them. And they are 3-12 this season, and they are just as bad against the spreads. I'm seeing they're 3-10 against the spread. They probably played 2 games that didn't have spreads. But they're getting 7.5 points at home to a Jacksonville team that they've never lost to. They're 6-0 in their history against Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, who's been the better team this season, is laying 7.5 points on the road at Bellarmine, a team that gets line respect for no reason. A team that's had solid teams in the past, and they're, for some reason, still getting line respect, even though they're absolutely terrible and they never come through for bettors. I think you'd play Jacksonville in this spot, to be honest with you. Bellarmine is fake sharp every damn night. And they've never lost to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's laying 7.5 on the road. That's weird. That's weird.
It's pretty weird.
Jacksonville wins that game. I don't know if they cover, but I would not be taking Bellarmine. Sorry, Nerfy Chad. Any other late night college basketball games?
Looking through some of them now. Don't think I have too much, unless you do.
Yeah, not much. You got Hawaii getting 2 points on the road to UC Riverside, who's coming off a loss. Wouldn't mind a little Riverside look there at home to bounce back after Hawaii's beaten them 3 of the last 4 times they played. I'd probably lean Riverside there in that spot. Montana State as a favorite against Northern Colorado. I thought that was weird. They're 5-10. They've lost 5 games in a row. They're playing 10-5 Northern Colorado, who's won 4 games in a row. And Montana State's, I mean, I don't know if you're going to make them dogs at home. They've been a solid basketball program in recent years as well. You're probably not going to make them dogs at home, but them being favorites after how atrocious they've been of late and how good Northern Colorado's been of late, that one stuck out to me a little bit. And although the line's moving, minimally towards Northern Colorado, I still think it's Montana State in that game, and I would play them on the ML.
Respect that. If it was anybody else, I'd probably be a little more intrigued.
All right. Utah Tech +4 against UT Arlington. I don't mind that play either. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They're home. UT Arlington's won 3 of their last 5. We're seeing Utah Tech only getting 4 points here at home. They've been pretty fucking bad this season, but in sharp spots they've come through. We bet them before. I wouldn't mind taking them at home, getting a couple points against UT Arlington.
Okay. Talking.
Wouldn't mind it. And then, guys, I do like Sam Houston State against Liberty tonight. Getting 4 points, 3.5, whatever you can get. All right? I don't know if I have anything else late night. I got that Santa Clara ML locked in with Ohio State. Surely that goes well today, but that might be it for me for CBB. That might be it.
Yeah. You can respect that.
What about on the ice? Why don't we hop over there briefly? It is a pretty big slate. Make sure we get our hockey people right in the chat. You talked about a couple of these games already. Like, what about Dallas and Philly? The line's moving 20 cents towards the Flyers. You like anything in that game?
It's definitely odd. But again, just like the Panthers yesterday, the Stars are also one of those teams. Whenever they're in like a very obvious, let's fade them because there's line movement, they're shorter favorites than they should be, spot on the road. Those are the spots where you get burnt, or where I've typically gotten burnt. So I've learned since then. So as much as I want to bet the Flyers, I don't know if I can do it. But the only way I think the Flyers stick in this game is with some defense and actually getting some good goaltending. So I would not mind an under in that game, especially being, the Ottinger and whoever really is in net for the Stars has been actually really solid lately. But the offense has made them very, very comfortable. So they're always playing with a lead. Flyers get out early, they might put them on their back foot a little bit, which would be nice. So I would not mind the under.
All right. What about in the Devils and Rangers game? That totals at 6.5. The under's getting juicier and juicier as the day goes on. I was going to say,
if there's going to be there's not really hockey Twitter PODs, but any line that looks like probably the easiest thing on the board to take today, it would be that over, especially being that they keep giving you a better and better price for it. With Igor in net too, I believe, who everybody hates because he's been absolutely awful. So it looks very interesting because as of really the last couple of days, there's usually like a popular over you can pick out on any slate. That one looks like how in the world does this game go under with both of these goalies? The Rangers defense versus the Devils offense, even though they're on the road. I mean, that game screams over, and it's probably going to be on quite a few cards today, if I had to guess.
Probably. All right, maybe an under in that game. Looks like that total's dropping to 6 some places. All right.
A little odd.
A little odd. Anything in the Sabres and Ottawa game?
God, no. I don't have the strength for Sabres Senators while the college football playoffs going on. I'll tell you that.
That's fair. That's more than fair. What about that total dropping from 6.5 to 5.5, though? Is that weird?
That's pretty odd. I think
don't these teams score a lot?
Yeah, and I believe one of the other squares that was also up in the goals allowed category in that group was a fully greened out Olmark square at 2.5.
Okay.
So, I mean, they've been getting a few more. The Senators have been getting a few more 5.5 totals lately, but it's not incredibly common, and especially against the Sabres, that feels pretty odd. So maybe we get a good Olmark performance.
I like that under.
Oh, they did just add a couple more new ones for goals allowed, but they're none of the same ones, which is odd.
Really weird.
They're all different ones that weren't even up in the first batch, minus Blackwood.
I like that under, Jovan. It's nasty. It's getting less than 15% of bets and handle on the green book as well, and that total is dropping.
It's gross.
I might have to bet that. I might have the nuts to actually bet that during the college football playoff game.
Wow.
I might be able to bet that.
That's hard.
That would suck, but I might be able to bet that. What about Edmonton and Pitt? Looks like the Oilers are catching some steam on the road. Anything in that game?
Yeah, probably another semi-easy looking over. This one I don't mind, though, especially being I think Skinner's going to be in net. He was also one of the guys that was up for goals allowed square, and he's coming off of a shutout, but maybe that's since changed, and we'll find that out in a little bit, or I will. Maybe that's why he got taken off. But He's coming off of that shutout of the Bruins, which I told you I'm betting the other side of with the Bruins and the Lightning today. And then they're playing a Penguins team that, frankly, I mean, just let the Penguins get up early on them. They're kind of like the Sabres at this point. Like, the over's probably going to hit because defensively, there is nothing there. They don't even have games where they like run over with 10 goals at this point. It's just all 4-3. They just squeak by because it's just such a predictable game script for the Penguins. So as much as I don't really want to bet the Oilers because they are coming off of that shutout, and the Penguins have lost, I think, 4 or 5 or 4 in a row. Ooh. But this game, it's probably going to get very weird.
Okay. Got another game that's looking pretty weird. You got Seattle Kraken coming off of 3 straight losses, but catching 20 cents of steam on the roads to CBJ. Are we betting Seattle tonight?
Might have to be Seattle.
Might have to be Seattle tonight, right?
Might
up to minus 125 on the roads? Come on.
Yeah. And, you know, like they've been bad, I guess, the last couple of games, but for the most part, they like really the whole like past couple of weeks, they've been playing like decent defensive teams. I guess the one you could kind of point out there is the Oilers, but the Oilers are built kind of differently. Like the Kraken, they have trouble creating offense at this point. So if you have any team that's going to create it for them with just really bad defense, they're going to score goals. So, I mean, the Devils don't fit that bill. They played the Canucks twice. They don't fit that bill. Even like Utah, as of like recently, doesn't really fit that bill either. So CBJ definitely does.
Okay. Yeah, I might have to play Seattle. Shit. Falling in love with all these plays on the ice tonight. Might have a fat card. All right. Looking at some of these late night games. You talked about Colorado and Minnesota briefly. What was the consensus there in that game?
I'm not going to take them, but the Avs getting that much steam. Granted, again, it's a hurt Wild team, so that probably has something to do with it. But getting that much steam after just losing on the first end of a back-to-back with the Blackhawks or against the Blackhawks, again, whole Trent Miner situation too, but feels pretty telling. You don't get steam that often in that situation on a road back-to-back when the other team is not also on a back-to-back. So it kind of feels like it's the Avs.
Okay. All right. I want to ask you, before we get back to college football and talk about prize picks, try to craft up a lineup for tonight's game, is there anything in the NBA that you want to bring up or let the people know about before we move? I want to go ahead and give you the floor here. I know you talked about that over on your Sharp report, right? You've got that play. And you've got Ryan Dunn, more than 1.5 3-pointers made. You've got that. You've got the Hawks Suns over. Anything else sticking out to you on the board? Anything else looking weird to you in these games today?
Not really too much, to be honest with you. I think that's my one for sure play in the association. I wanted to take something probably Heat related against the Jazz in Utah, but I don't know that I can get myself there after just an incredible, crazy win on the second end of a back-to-back, dominant win for that much over the Warriors, which I was shocked to see in their last game. But I don't know. That's probably all I got is that over in Hawks Suns.
You think that total in Houston, Memphis is kind of high? Up from 229 to 234?
Just a little bit. And I think it probably has to do with who's going to be playing for the Grizz because they also flipped to a favorite. I was planning on taking them in that game, and I wanted to make sure I got the full landscape of the in and out situation before I did that. Yep. So I still might take the Grizz, but yeah, it is a little weird, I would say. Rockets involved, of course, makes this strange.
Yeah, Grizzlies got a CVS receipt of injuries in this game.
Yeah, and I believe a couple of them are going to be playing tonight. So I want to wait. I want to wait to find out just how many and who that is.
Okay. All right. That's fair. You got that over in Atlanta and Phoenix. You said you're thinking about maybe taking something in that Miami game back in your Heat on the roads.
Yeah, probably not, though. I'm probably going to lay off.
Okay. All right. And then I think that Lakers game just got canceled. Anybody in Cali watching the show right now, prayers up, stay safe, please. I'll keep you guys in my prayers. That shit's sad as heck and really scary. So prayers up to anybody out there in Cali watching the show today. Stay safe. Stay safe. Get the heck out of there if you have to. All right. Jovan, I want to craft up a PrizePicks lineup for this college football game tonight. Do you think we have it in us? You think we can pull this off?
Do.
All right, I do too. I know chat, somebody wanted a 4-man. I would also like to craft up a 4-man, but we don't need a force. We also don't have your second sharp report leg here, so we could involve, Riley Leonard.
I've got a bunch of squares in this game, so we got some subs.
So I'm just going to pass the torch over to you then, Jovan. I want you to talk about this game a little bit from a PrizePicks perspective. Okay, I know you hinted at, we've already talked about this game a little bit, but what other squares are sticking out to you that we maybe haven't mentioned yet?
Well, so my 2 POD squares for this game, because I decided to do one for each team since there's only 2 games.
Wow.
I like Jaden Greathouse yards, which has got bumped up a couple, but I'm kind of sticking with the Riley Leonard passing script. You want to get him in situations where he's not in second and long, third and long, so you're going to pass more on early downs. Guy, it's kind of tough for Notre Dame's wide receivers because Faison's been the guy a little bit. Beyond then, you can flip a coin at who's going to be the guy for the most part. I think in this game, speed might be their friend to win some of these matchups. And at the beginning of the year, they're using Greathouse a lot more in the last couple of weeks, but he's slowly been working himself back into the fold. He's more so now like the quick screen guy, but I think they're going to do a little more. And again, it only takes one of like the deep routes that were so good to win those matchups earlier in the season. I think we might get one of those from him today. So like his line's 13.5. That's my Notre Dame square for the day.
Okay.
And then Penn State, there's a couple options. The one that I officially have on the feed is Katron Allen receiving yards, which is 6.5. Could take one simple dump down, but goes with the Al Golden blitz script. I think they're going to, I don't even want to say I think, like Al Golden will blitz the hell out of Drew Aller. And he's smart enough, the OC, Andy Kotelnicki is smart enough to make him prepared for it. So, yeah, he's going to take his deep shots against them, but when it's not open, he's probably going to be dumping it down to Singleton and Katron Allen. Katron Allen's also the better pass blocker, so I would assume he's going to be in on more of those situations as well. So I think he gets a couple of dump downs. But there are some new squares. Obviously, I like taking Riley Leonard. I'm down to take your fantasy score, or touchdown, or passing yards, or anything there. But they also just put up a very convenient Drew Aller interception square, which I would not mind taking a look at. After, granted, Boise State and SMU games, he did air the ball out, but how much of the pressure was on him? Not really all that much for the majority of the game. He hasn't thrown one of the playoffs so far. Kind of thinking he does today, and there's a reason why Notre Dame's been so good. When the offense looks all that not impressive to everybody who just watches it and gets bored, it's because they force turnovers every single game, whether it's fumbles, whether it's picks, whether it's pick sixes, like the end of the USC game. That's what they do. So at the very least, one of the reasons why I think there's going to be points with what Notre Dame's defense does is because they're going to blitz Drew Aller a ton. That's going to lead to a big play, or it's going to lead to a crucial mistake, which is great for points, great for the clock, whatever. But you probably get the crucial mistake.
Well, I absolutely love those 3 squares that you just talked about. Jaden Greathouse, Katron Allen receiving yards, Drew Aller pick. What do you think about feet in this game? What do you think about Mitch Jeter? Because I learned my lesson the hard way. I want your thoughts on feet.
I don't mind
because I learned my lesson. I faded Mitch Jeter last game, Jovan, and I mean it was the worst square maybe in the history of PrizePicks. The guy turned into fucking prime Justin Tucker. He seems to have his swagger back, and he also seems to have his health back. He's doing the kickoffs again. He wouldn't be doing the kickoffs if he wasn't healthy, in my opinion. He's booting the ball out of the fucking end zone. The guy's got an absolute leg. I wouldn't be shocked if Mitch Jeter, a guy who surprisingly to me, he's not the popular kicker on PrizePicks today. It's actually Ryan Barker, the Penn State kicker, who's the popular one. He's got 9,000 tails, probably because the chart is extremely green. I think Mitch Jeter's probably kicking a couple field goals. If not, he's kicking one and a bunch of extra points in this contest as well. Be shocked if he goes less than 6 kicking points.
I would like feet. I don't hate it. I would like it a lot more if I liked the under in the game, though.
Okay.
Because
yep.
I think that was the one area where we disagreed. I think last time you took it in the Georgia game, because I think we both kind of agreed on the under, but I felt like that was a script more for Mitch Jeter and the kickers than anything. So like I don't know. If I didn't like the over, I would like this a lot more. Not saying I don't think it's going to hit, but I would love some offense.
Do you want to maybe take a Riley Leonard square?
Of course,
to round this puppy out.
Of course, I do.
I mean, I wouldn't mind putting the fantasy score in there.
Gladly.
And just keeping it simple. I think he gets that rushing touchdown. I think he goes more than his passing yards. I don't think he throws a pick. I was actually going to bring up those interception squares to you. I like Drew to throw a pick, and I like, obviously, Riley Leonard to not throw a pick. I'm looking at his charts. I think both those arguments are a little nasty and contrarian. So that helps his fantasy score as well. And I think he's going to be getting his legs up and moving as well. Maybe not as much in recent weeks, right? But he'll get some yards on the ground. He'll get some fantasy points. I like that 18.5 fantasy score for Riley Leonard.
Sure.
Now I'm looking
I do think he's going to be running at some point. I just feel like at the beginning, which honestly, this might be a better script for him because he kind of has to run to open the offense usually. If he passes to open the offense and then he gets to use his legs, there are probably going to be a couple more of those big runs, which would be huge.
All right. He's got a 12.5 rush attempt square that makes me think he will still be definitely involved in the ground game.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I like that format a lot, man. Jaden Greenhouse, more than 13.5 receiving yards. Katron Allen, more than 6.5 receiving yards. Drew Aller, more than half a pick. And Riley Leonard, more than 18.5 fantasy score.
Get on that.
You got any qualms with that?
None. Ooh, I did see. Interesting. Great house. I already saw that his receiving yards got bumped up, but his longest reception is on the board, and that got bumped up too to a number that he hasn't got in total. Both playoff games and even back to the USC game. So that is interesting.
I just dropped the link in the chat on Twitch if people want to tail that. Looks like Lancer is talking about Tyler Warren in the chats. I guess Adams Got Wales is talking about Tyler Warren. Aller will consistently target him due to Freeman's defensive scheme. I mean, yeah, I don't really want to take any Tyler Warren squares. He's been Gronk so far in the playoffs, but I'm also not fading him because he's just the guy for them. He's their best, receiving option by far.
Yeah, he's also going to have.
Surprised if he gets.
He's going to have the best player on the Notre Dame's defense on him for a majority of it, I would assume. So I mean, that's probably the toughest matchup on the field, I would say, because if you're on Christian Gray, whether that's Harrison Wallace or Amari Evans or whoever gets the assignment, I mean, that's easily the one that if you're Drew Aller, I'm peppering. I would pepper the guy who's given up. I think the stat was a 30-yard reception, 30-plus yard reception in 5 straight weeks.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
Sheesh. Shark Lark asking the important questions in chats. What do we think about that Blackwood save square or goals allowed square? Excuse me. I think it might be a trap after talking through it. It might be a trap. I don't want to take that.
Yeah.
Right. Minnesota, they're banged up, but they've scored 4+ goals in all their last 4 games. They've been putting up goals, and Colorado just lost last night. So looks a little trappy to me. Not in a rush to take that more than. Look at the other 2 squares that are up in that category too, making sure we're not missing anything. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, chat, we got about 10 minutes left. We crafted up a PrizePicks lineup. We went over all the college basketball games that we liked. Is there anything else we want to get to today before we find a squad ride winner? Maybe we take some time and craft that up for 10 minutes here. Make sure we have the right plays, right pieces in the puzzle.
Sure.
Gates, do you think it's time or you want to wait? I think it's probably time. Gatesy, run that shit. I want to see that damn train. All right, chat. Squad rides. Look, we started out with a winner in 2025, and since then we've had 4 straight losers. We got to get back on the saddle, and we got to cash a squad ride tonight. Jovan, I'm scared to put Notre Dame in here. I'm just going to go ahead and get out in front of it right now. I'm scared.
Don't take the reins because I think 3 of those 4 have been mine. So get after it. Where your plums take us.
I want to put that over in the Notre Dame Penn State game in here.
Okay.
45.5. All the bets on the under and the total's not moving at all. Good. I want to put Sam Houston in here.
Okay.
There were some other college basketball plays that we talked about and hockey that I would not mind getting involved either, Jovan. Maybe we start with hockey here. There were 2 plays top of mind for me that we talked through. It's that Seattle on the ML on the road, -125. It's that under in the Sabres and Ottawa game. And we've also got, I think there was one more play you talked about on the ice as well that you liked. But especially those 2 stuck out to me. Seattle and that Sabres Ottawa under.
Yeah.
I think we put Seattle in here.
Seattle in there a little more.
I think we put Seattle with the Kraken in this puppy. Kraken ML. You've got that NBA over in that puppy.
I love that.
Definitely don't mind that. I want to make sure there's nothing in CBB that we talked about today that we might like better. Scrolling through. There were some good matchups in these mid-majors, like Arkansas State. I wouldn't mind putting in here. Oakland, +3.5. I wouldn't mind putting in here. Arkansas State, I got a weird feeling about, man. I like that play.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
I thought you were going to say the opposite. So I figured if you were going to bet on the boys, I would have seen it already. I was kind of worried. You weren't tapped.
Yeah, I just fading South Alabama at home is a death wish, but I cannot ignore that line.
Okay.
Why don't we roll with these 3 plays and keep it simple? Why don't we go the over in college football, Sam Houston, and the Kraken ML? 3-piece, quality over quantity. We go about our day, and we let the chat decide.
Sure.
All right? Krabs or Juice Crane, do not worry. I'm not letting that over get swept. Okay? That over is in the squad ride poll. All right? Hofstra was another good one as well. I don't mind Hofstra either. Ohio State lay the points. Fuck it. It can't get worse than Miami. Rampage, it could. It could get worse.
Good.
All right? I mean, at this point, we probably could put Ohio State ML in here, but do we really want to do that? Are they worth our time? Probably not. Probably not. I think we keep it simple. We keep it short. We keep it sweet. Now, Wagslocks is saying he wants that Hawks over in here. Let me go look at that play one more time. Let me go look at that play one more time.
Quick last second peek.
God, that total's high as shit. And you talked about those weird sun squares up in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, the whole team is up for weird stuff today.
Yeah, they are. I'm looking at it. Jesus. Yeah, Monty Morris. I fucking bet. Let's put that over in here as well. Chat loves it. I love it. I know you love it. You put it on your sharp report. Is it still 238.5? Yes, it is. Let's put that in there as well. Let's get that involved. And Gootsy, if you don't mind, if we can run this poll for 5 minutes, give the people some time. 4 plays, 4 winners. Notre Dame, Penn State, over 45.5. Sam Houston, +3. The Kraken ML. And the Hawks Suns, over 238.5. 4 plays, 4 winners. Hurry up. Go, go, go. Hurry up. Go, go, go. Sticks picks coming in hot. Can we just drop meat, Jovan, and say Leonard touchdown? I think he can agree with that. Yep.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
A touchdown square on PrizePicks? Sure.
Yep.
I think you were talking about that one on the coin toss, huh?
Yeah. I mean, again, not that it's much different now, but the fact that he was a demon going to a regular square now and was among the most juiced guys in the game, close to Tyler Warren, was odd to me.
That
Plus,
is odd.
I mean, football sense too, I guess. You have no full strength. Jeremiah Love to punch it in. You got to get creative.
Rampage bets. Do you really think people are clicking the Ohio State button besides you and me, brother, today? I will respectfully answer that for you, and the answer is no. Nobody's voting for it. We're not putting it in. Okay? Cade Cunningham points, bounce back from 13 last game. We're not taking any Cade Cunningham bullshit today. He's in timeout.
Yeah.
He's in timeout for
So
his
it
actions.
doesn't really count as a bounce back if you don't play the whole second half of the game, pretty much. So that's just blowout.
All right. Rav. We got Rav loose in the chat.
Oh, Ohio State and
Sure.
get nice.
Great.
Good hit, Ref.
Great. Well, Rav, I'm rooting for you, man. I'm rooting for you. Let's cash that get nice today. All right?
Already cashed.
He already posted the cashed play, and the games have not started for 4 hours. Good. Ohio State and the get nice. Okay. God sent. Unbelievable. Congrats to Texas. Sure. Is it snow? I guess you're not even down there right now, Jovan.
Yeah, I'm not down there.
How's the snow? It's crazy they got snow down there. People are losing their minds.
Yeah, it's because the whole state loses their minds because they're not built for it.
Yeah. Well, they might need to figure that out. You can't have people losing their fucking minds.
It's been like 4 or 5 years since this started. It started while it was still like TCU, and I saw the same thing. There's not prepared for it, and they don't really care to fix it. It's confusing.
Yeah, it's weird. This could also be a good time while the squad ride poll continues. It looks like it's a 2-horse race here, Jovan. The over in the college football game tonight and the over in the NBA game tonight. W's there. Could be a good time to let the people know that we will be boots on ground on Sunday for Sunday Night Football down in Tampa. My commies versus your Bucks. People forget that.
Gonna be cinema. Krabs coming down to Florida.
Please, 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 please keep me in your prayers that there's no bullshit with the flights on Saturday. It's supposed to snow up here on Saturday. Please let me get down to Tampa, link up with Jovan. We can have an absolute day. We can make great videos and content, and we can fucking go sweat out the best game of the weekend in the Wild Card Series and potentially even see an upset being pulled off in person. Please. No
Gooch POD is that you make it there safely.
Gooch is a weather specialist. Yeah, weather savant.
Unfortunately for you, Rav just put Krabs getting there safely in the get nice. Let's go.
Okay, he's already tweeted it. He's already greened it out.
He already cashed it, dude.
Oh, man. W. Goots grinding today. Working his butt off. Making sure BTL's looking clean. Good shit today, Gootsy.
I'll be at the bank on Saturday, too. So, fuck Rav. Fuck
Goots. Wow.
Yeah,
Goots on ground.
Not get it arranged for him to get up there in this economy.
Boots on ground. Boots on grounds. Yeah, it's wild. It's good, Goots. You deserve it, my man. Goots saved everyone on the train to the Jets game. People forget. Yeah, that train was crazy. People forget there was a fire on the tracks on top of a lake, is what they told us. I'm still trying to figure that one out. I don't know. Bucky Irving masterclass loading, probably, unless we go down and score first, and then they're playing from behind the whole game. But yeah, probably.
That won't do anything, Krabs. Still gotta let Bucky eat.
He's going to eat. Speaking of eating, Gootsy, I know you're excited to watch this Notre Dame game tonight. Over under 1.5 dips for this game tonight.
I would give you the under.
Over.
I know what's on the menu, and we're smoking meats. All right, we're not making dips.
Oh
wow!
That's the difference right there. That just made me 5 times more confident in the Irish.
5 times.
This ain't no regular season game, huh, Goots? This is the fucking playoffs.
Meats.
We're smoking meat.
The smokers up moving since 6 a.m. this morning.
Okay.
They're being smoked.
Oh yeah.
Alarms were set to put the meats on the smoker.
Yeah. I had a friend sleep on the floor right next to the smoker to make sure it was good.
Wow.
I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm
not gonna ask any questions there. Hey, you cannot let that smoker be on its. I don't even know what to say at that point. No. Why is it sleeping on the floor? Tell him to go to bed.
I actually don't know. I gotta ask him.
I got nothing I can reason with you there, but I'm jealous. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, maybe I'll post a picture of
the Notre Dame game.
You'll see it, chat.
Yeah, post a picture on the fucking feed, dude. I'm trying to see these Goots meats.
Yeah.
Pause.
That's crazy. Requesting Goots meat pics on feed.
Let's just get this over with.
And that'll conclude today's BTL. Sure. Well, Gootsy, Jovan, enjoy the Notre Dame game tonight. I know I'm low-key a closet Notre Dame fan, but not as much as you guys. But I will be rooting for the Irish tonight, and I know you guys will as well. Enjoy the game. Okay, I know we get caught up in the betting, we get caught up in the PrizePicks squares, but take a second in the beginning of that game when you see the Irish run out on the fields and you see your guy Marcus Freeman out there leading the way. Take a second, be happy that your team is in this bitch and that they made it this far, and let's root the Irish on tonight. That's all we can do. That's all we can do.
Of course.
All right.
Give me some 65-7 natty get back.
Okay. Let's get some points, please. And let's get some points in the NBA tonight as well, Jovan. Looks like that squad ride is going to be the over in the Hawks and Suns game tonight. Sure. All right. Chat, we got a couple things we're crafting up for you. We're going to do a NFL playoffs pod later this afternoon. Put that out tonight or tomorrow for you guys and for the weekend. Okay. So we're going to craft that puppy up later today. We've got a big game tonight that we're obviously all eyes on the Irish. Let's hope they get a big time win and cash that over as well. And do not let that squad ride get swept in the NBA tonight with all the college football playoff action going on. Do not let that squad ride get swept. We're bouncing back after 4 straight losses. Jeesh. Oh, we're not making it 5. We're cashing tonight. We'll meet you guys at the cash counter when we see 240 points, at least, in that NBA game tonight. All right? W's. Gentlemen, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining in chats. Thank you for all the subbies. False are coming in. 3-year bang. Let's fucking go. Picks with Deej coming in, resubbing. Spiller of Guts coming in, resubbing. Crazy name. Not going to ask. We appreciate